everybody, and welcome to Minute to Skim It. I'm super glad to see you guys. That was a really awesome new bumper for the shows, y'all. I felt like we were getting ready to watch like some kind of Mission Impossible film or James Bond. I don't know. It was epic. And by the way, clearly we are not the Avengers assembling. We might be the Avengers. I'm here that you can even buy those t-shirts. That's a She-Hulk reference. Just let you guys. I'm sure all you guys know. You're all nerds. We're reviewing really cool books this week. I'm going to let Shanice introduce herself because she's here and you trust her, but you're like, who's that person?
Well, I'm going to show a couple times. Hey guys, I'm Shanice. I work with Jen. We bond over a shared love over comics and Cyclops, the best X-Men character.
She's starting stuff. Do you see that? They know. They know better. Yes, this is the proof that that all nerds can get along, because I hate Scott Summers with all the fire of the sun.
And I adore him.
Yeah. So there you go.
The Flash or run away?
Should you run to the Flash or run away? We actually had a tiny discussion about that before, so we both read it today. So whenever that we get to that review, then you guys are going to see how we feel about it. So there's lots of really good books. I read since there weren't a lot of number ones this week, I read a ton of like number whatevers of series that I may not have even read any of. And I have some new addictions. That's bad, y'all. Don't just randomly read the middle of a series. You never know what's going to happen. You might have to buy it now. They did Cyclops dirty in the movies. It was exactly right.
No, they did. And I still like him despite those
perfect amount of smarm. It was excellent. I actually really like the guy who plays the part, but poor guy
needed better writing.
Yeah. All right, let's review some books. How do I start with Mothra? Okay, you guys know I absolutely love Mothra. This is a really cool premise because there's only so many ways you can tell the Mothra tale if you're just doing straight up. Here's the Earth. Here's Mothra showing up to kick the butt of whatever creature, Godzilla / or kaiju that shows up. And they've got a ton of Godzilla books out now, right? So there's another one out this week that looks really dope, by the way. I feel like we should have just maybe bought 1 million of them, but I always feel that way about most books. So, in the last issue, we meet these two girls that are down below. So what you should know about Mothra is in the original movie series, she comes from a sacred island, and she gets summoned by these two little girls who sing a very special song for her. They are literally called, the name of the girls is called the Peanuts. They don't call them that in any of the series anymore because it's kind of a weird name. But they live in a box, essentially a jewelry box. I know you guys are thinking, man, I need to go watch these shows, and you should, because those original Mothra ones, especially the second movie, they have so many crazy weirdnesses in them. It's like when they got people to do the translations, they were like, close enough. So for this book, we were introduced into these other girls here that are on the front cover. They are actually from a different, I'll say dimension, because I can't remember how they say different world, who they have their own Mothra. What's really cool about this, then, it allows them to have different larval forms and different adult forms that we haven't seen yet, or will remind you of ones you may have seen from the movies, because I think it's in the second movie that leads into the third one that gets you to that really cool, like, black one that looks all more pointed and less rounded and friendly. So this is where this is kind of headed. Like, get us multiple Mothras for multiple purposes. There are some really cool Godzilla kaiju that you probably will recognize, introduced as kind of like the foils in this series. So there's such good art in this, especially like when you get to the end of this book, they have like some of the, give you like some of the cover art or something for the next issues or the little tease. There's, just the most gorgeous version of Mothra I think I've ever seen. so tempting for people like me that like to do giant cosplay. It's like, I cannot make another Mothra. I don't have the room. Oh my goodness. But anyway, if you like Godzilla, specifically Mothra, this is a really cool series from IDW. Turtles. Okay. I read the first issue of this run and then for some reason wandered away from it. Maybe it was just there was too much stuff in those weeks for me to be able to add it back into my reading. So just to get you caught up to where this issue is, I don't really know what happened going forward. It appears that there is no master in this one, or the master has died, or some other bad thing has befallen them, and the turtles have been left to do kind of their own, I don't know, they're trying to clean up the city. They're out fighting all the time, but one of them doesn't seem to be well mentally. So Donnie seems like Donnie's having a hard time. Looks like he's not eating. He's very thin. And he spends his time talking to this rat who is a normal sized rat and calling him master. And I don't know if they're trying to say in the series he really has like lost his crap, but they also start to hear what he says, that there's crying. He can hear crying. And this was kind of like them trying, like, is he nuts? Should they really worry about him more? But also, I'm going to say that this is some of the most gorgeous Turtles art on the inside of this book that I have ever seen. And I don't know how to explain how they can do. So the art style of the Turtles is beautifully, almost like painted art. But the design of how their jaws are and everything is like original Eastman and Laird, where they've got that underjaw and overbite, and it just looks right. I don't remember if the first issue had this person as their artist or not, but I think I'm gonna have to read them from now on just so I can, enjoy that beautiful art style. And I'm really worried about Donnie. You should be worried too. Help me.
Very long ago. So Mad Cave, they've been putting out some very interesting books, like very interesting genre books. Always have, and I'm sure they always will. This is a book that I went into blind, like all the books we have here. But this is one I didn't even read the synopsis for it. I thought the cover art was just gorgeous, and yeah. So it's about 3 young girls. You see them on the cover. They reunite with their mom, who's also on the cover. She sends them away because she can't really take care of them. So she has to find a job, and then when she's more financially stable, she gets them back. While all this is happening, she remarries, and everything seems good, but something seems off with their mother. She doesn't seem like the woman that they left initially. Yeah, this was a pretty twisted book. The gore happens fast and quick, and there's some imagery in this book that I kind of was like, whoa, and it's like, okay, yeah, it's Mad Cave horror. It's fine. But yeah, I really liked it a lot.
That's fun.
Oh, what's that?
I was just seeing if I could tell who does this one. No, it's all in cursive, and my glasses aren't that great.
I think Jay's got it.
She killed a lot of men based on a true story. Really?
Oh, wow.
It's so funny because when you were describing that, I was thinking to myself, there are a couple of true crime shows that I watched that kind of feel a little bit like this.
Oh man, so that's even more interesting because I didn't realize this was based off of a true event, because something that happens in this book that's like, wait, what's going on here? And kind of pretty big hint on this cover. But thank you for letting me know. Now I definitely want to reread this again, having that in mind. But I think you'd like it. Like true crime. Yeah.
I don't know if you guys saw this in your Facebook feed today, but someone had shared an article where a psychologist was saying that there's some kind of there's a warning or like a thing you should watch out for people that find themselves really attracted to true crime. So my answer to that was like, do you mean every woman that I know 40 and over? We should all watch those people? Because the truth is that we like true crime because it's dangerous, but not to us. It has a problem that gets resolved. And that's what we're always working on. We want to have a finished resolution to a problem. And we're like, all is well in the world. Oh, wait, here's another one that just popped on. We have to watch that one too. See if there's resolution there. Taco Tuesday in comics. Whoop, whoop. Actually, I do Taco Thursday because I'm a weirdo. We go to Torchies. Torchies. You guys have Torchies? All right. Web of Venomverse. This is Fresh Brains, it says on there. All right. There's a bunch of first appearances in this issue. And I love the way that they do this story because it could feel like we're just coming up with random reasons to introduce characters and this is all throwaway, but it mentions the next issue that it's going to take off into, which is another, I think, Edge of Venomverse kind of tale, and it hops off of whatever the last Venom title there was. So it's in continuity. It's just its own book. So it's neat because it has at the end of whatever, I can't remember which book it actually has this reference to, where they start to build a team. You guys help me out. There was at the very end, they show these little crystals, right? And they were like, this part of my team, and I choose this person in my team. And then it got real vague as it went by, a little blob in a crystal, blob in a crystal, blob in a crystal. It starts with that again and says, okay, well, I'm still trying to figure out how I'm going to form this team. And I can't remember who is even forming the team. Maybe we don't know. Maybe that's still in the shadows thing. But so the way it does this, the reason at the beginning of the book it says, okay, there's multiple tales told by different people. It's really neat because it really is just that person saying, okay, I'm going to look at this Venom symbiote or this symbiote as a possibility. So it does there's a story that shows you how that Venom version becomes. So you get an origin story and you have the first appearance in the book. And then it says in every instance, it's like, okay, well, this one needs more time. It needs to figure out what it is, where it belongs in the Venom universe, all those kinds of things, right? That one's probably not right for my team. So it's really neat because it gives you either 3 or 4 stories where it introduces new symbiotes. And there's a really cool one in here it's going to be a throwback character from, I think we get introduced to that character in the 80s. That's a part of a team, and it's really cool. So don't let it get spoiled for you. And then if you look at the cover really closely, you can see there's another animal version. That's the first story, and that's really cool too. So they feel like they're not just like reasons to have another book, but a way to further forward a story and give us some options for later on, because we need lots of options always for Venom, right? So try it out if you love this guy. Talkies and today and tomorrow all have teas. Coincidence? No, not at all. Does that little Venom have pigtails? Yes. That little Venom does have pigtails. And you can figure out which character in the universe has pigtails and probably figure it out. And then I wanted to read this one because you might have, there's a lot of Spawn books that have been coming out, little short series and then the long form series. Gunslinger has a long form series, King Spawn, Scorched, and those kind, and regular Spawn title. But you might have been like, oh, why do I need another Gunslinger title? I just wanted to make sure you understood that this is Jimmy Palmiotti's book, and this is actually origin story for Gunslinger. When he was first introduced into the Spawn universe, he was intended to be one of those shows up every once in a while and isn't a main character, but he was so well received and loved because of his ridiculous hat probably and one gigantic boot that people loved him. And they took him till now to be like, okay, we need to find somebody to give us an origin story that makes sense. And it's been really great. As you can imagine, it all happens in the West. But this one, for some reason, he's looking for someone specific, and it brings him to the carnival, where there's some really messed up characters. Imagine if anybody at the carnival could be also supernatural or have powers or be the undead. You know, the way it is in the Spawn universe. So really cool art. You might want to pick this up if you're just a Spawn everything person, just so you have all of his origin information. It's really great reading, great art.
Wolverine, issue 8, the legacy number 400. So I want to pick this up because honestly, all the covers I've seen for this book have been absolutely gorgeous, including the cover A. But yeah, it was a really cool milestone legacy issue. There's 3 stories in it. First, it's also like the first 2 are basically a continuation of what's going on in the main title, but I think it's going to be the last third of this book that's going to have people talk. It's written by DWJ. If you've been reading his Transformers run, you know it's fantastic, and he also does the artwork in this story as well. From my understanding, he actually did like a live stream on YouTube drawing the pages of this issue.
Wow.
And it's phenomenal. And I don't know if it's kind of teasing for a future series. I kind of hope it does. Scott, I don't know if I can spoil it or not, but I won't go too much into like the plot of the story. But
maybe talk about a little bit like those first 2 stories. I don't know where we are in Wolverine. What is the most recent like occurrence that we might recognize?
Kind of how you're touching on earlier about jumping into a story at the midway point.
Yeah.
It's a very good decision of doing that. So the adamantium, basically it's like, if I'm understanding this correctly, and if someone can correct me on this, I would very much appreciate it. It feels as if that we don't deserve it, or it's like it's too precious of a, I don't know how to describe it, but like it's like you have to earn this, or you have to earn the right to use this special metal.
So more of us like almost like a spiritual thing instead of just like I dug up the one little bit of it so I get to use it.
A little bit, yes. So that's how the first story basically starts off with Wolverine fighting like this creature of it. It's pretty cool. Like it's Wolverine just going absolutely just ham and feral in this issue, as he does and as he is. He just bring back his villains. So not quite. But I will say in the second story, it is kind of like, hey, Wolverine's greatest hits, but hits for us, not so much for him. And he's definitely miserable in the second story. But yeah, it's again like the first 2 stories, it's a continuation of what's going on, so you're fine there. Third one, it's like Elseworlds this story. But yeah, like I jumped into this issue basically just to read it because I thought the cover was nice, but maybe you'd have liked it a little bit better.
Yeah, I was being sincere in my asking. Like I know I read Wolverine every once in a while. I just can't remember because I'm reading also Absolute, and he's been in some other issues. Mm-hmm. Every once in a while, if you read a lot, and I'm sure all of you guys do, you start to doubt which version of him am I reading right now? They kind of meld together a little bit. All right. Oh my gosh. This is some incredibly magical storytelling. Do you remember the feeling you had, maybe if you're my age and you read the first like No Word G.I. Joe? We were just like, this is something that's really special. sitting in the middle of a bunch of really great books, but this one stands out really dramatically. I will tell you that probably the first 3/4 of this book is done so that what you're seeing on the page, which is essentially a battle between an actual wolf and an actual bear, that Kodiak bear you see up there, it's them in the forest stalking each other and fighting and all this stuff, right? Just the most beautiful pages, every single one of them frameable, if you don't mind blood. It's really cool. But the blocks that are telling a story are from a narration that's happening not on the screen at all. But you understand completely what's going on. It's not really has anything to do with the imagery that's going on. It's this perfect melding of like, I get to have eye candy, but I also get to do my very own imagination based on words. It's like getting to read a novel, right? But also hitting your button for beautiful paint. So I will just tell you, this pays off in a big way. And when you get to the actual, like, here, you get to finally see what's been going on off screen and get to see what Carnage, Wolverine / Winter Soldier has done. You're going to be like, daggum, holy cow. And then they're going to talk about a totally new, you're going to see somebody new who they have been using to control not only Wolverine, but other characters that are part of this Ultimate Universe. It's, man, seriously, y'all, if you haven't read any Ultimate Wolverine, I promise you can buy this one issue and be totally cool. You only need to know that he's the Winter Soldier, that the Russians are the ones manipulating him, and that they are just manipulating him only. So, yeah, not nice art, not muscly Wolverines. Nope, just beautiful bear and wolf fighting in the wood. Just actual bear and wolf. Oh, and don't miss this issue of Redcoat because it introduces the Northerner, which we've been waiting for. If you've not jumped into Redcoat, it is the tale of Simon Pure. He's the guy in the red coat on the front cover who was part of the British Army. He finds himself on American soil fighting and ends up in the cross of what was supposed to have been Illuminati style, giving someone immortality. His name was George Washington, because in this tale, he's not a good guy. And instead, it gets Simon Pure. So he's immortal. The problem is that he is kind of not the best human being in the whole world. He's kind of born for himself and kind of a goofball. So in this one, we introduce to the Northerner. This happens in the middle of the Civil War, this part of the storyline. And it does fit in the greater storyline. You also get to meet, there's a little girl that you get to meet in here that I think is more important than the fact that they haven't mentioned her as a first appearance. So, yeah, Simon makes you feel all good about yourself. You're like, I'm way better than that guy. But also he's eye candy. I'm sorry. He just is. He's eye candy. And he's great. So, yeah, this, I can't, you guys know I'm going to always tell you a million good things about Ghost Machine's universe. Find a book in the universe that you like. Go get Geiger or Redcoat or Rook Exodus or really anything. If you like horror, get into the Hyde, Devour part of the universe. It all ties together somehow. Awesome, Barlord. You'll be very happy.
Superior Avengers.
Ooh.
So this was a pretty interesting one. It kind of stuck up on me. But like, it's basically Doomsverse Avengers. And as you can see, well, you can tell by the main cover, like they're not traditional good guys. These are villains. You got Killmonger, you've got Onslaught, and Ghost.
Onslaught, great.
Yeah, awesome.
What could go wrong?
So the interesting thing about this team is that they're not from our time, they're from the future.
Oh.
And they're supposed to be like, yeah, so Doom is super awesome, and we have proof because we're from a future where, he's running things. And I'm not sure, like, if this is going to be a miniseries or a maxi series. But just kind of going from there, it's like, okay, these characters, this team, I'm curious to see what they're going to do in the future. If they truly believe that Doom is quote unquote like a good guy or a bad guy or whatever. But it's definitely it's got me intrigued. I'm like, okay, and I want a issue 2 because I want to know what happens next. But this whole event has been really, really fun, and this one, it's something.
I don't think you're supposed to like these Avengers.
That's the thing, because you're not supposed to, but yet you kind of do like it.
Yeah, take me down with this version.
Yeah, this version of Killmonger is really, really cool, and that's all I can really say about it, because I'm worried that I said too much about this story, and I don't want to spoil certain things in this book. That it was like, oh, I want more now.
I'm intrigued by this whole One World Under Doom thing.
Mm-hmm.
I as I know that I love a big myth arc. I know it's really hard on people's pocketbooks. So if you ever want to just get a download for everything that's happening, you can always just come into the store, send me a direct message, and I'll give you the download so you can not have to spend all that money and just start from here. But I just like the premise of Doom exerting ultimate control, right? Kind of like we got from Krakoa with the mutants. They basically said, you have to acknowledge this as a sovereign nation, except for this one is even more strong. You are all Latveria. Mm-hmm. Sorry. But I'm going to provide everything for you. Healthcare and education, and there's no fighting, and it's kind of a perfect little utopian world, right? But still, you're ruled by Doom. I still am waiting for the shoe to drop. I like shoes dropping in comic books because you know what's going to happen. You can't look away. Has Doom ever done this before? When he's like, I rule everything, but not in a big bad guy way? Nope. You guys know of anyone that he's ever done that?
I was going to say Civil Wars, but he's very much a bad guy in that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I have not been reading detective comics for a little while. I think I made it to the end of Ron B's run, and then I read the first one of this run, and then I got distracted by Absolute, and I apologize. But so you guys correct me if I'm misunderstanding anything that I think that I'm reading here. It appears that Bruce has been hunting down a character who is the daughter of a very bad person who happens to be a female doctor whose, the way I understand it, whose husband is Joe Chill. At least the girl's dad is Joe Chill, and the mom is her mom. So I don't know. Anyway, so this is such a big story arc change for me where I'm like, well, wait, now what? And this daughter knows who Bruce is outside the bat suit because she calls him by his real name. I'm like, what? How is this? How many people know who he is at this point? But anyway, he's been trying to prevent what's happening now, which is a lot of bloodshed. So much bloodshed. And it's great. It's the writing I like, where you care about characters. They're very complex. There's no truly good, truly bad. Just people that are broken. So if you wanted to jump in somewhere, I don't know if this is the right first issue. I think this is the second issue in a story arc. Might go back one to be able to catch the very beginning of this arc, but still doing it. It's great stuff.
Godzilla versus Hulk. So out of all of the Godzilla versus that they've announced, this was the one I was very curious and excited about because Hulk's whole thing with radiation and Godzilla's thing also with radiation, and the cover it's like Hulk, he's a big guy, but Godzilla is the size of a tower. So how is this fight gonna work? And something that I've really appreciated about these one shots so far is that it is just pure. I'm fairly certain I said this for the Godzilla versus Fantastic Four, but it's just pure, just comic booky fun. Like it's so over the top, it's silly, and it also has really good callbacks to the Marvel Godzilla series, to the Godzilla film series as a whole. I'm not gonna say it's like deep cuts, but if you know anything about about the Godzilla franchise, you'll really enjoy it. So this one takes place in the 70s. Thunderbolt is trying to take down Godzilla, who's causing havoc as Godzilla does, and Bruce is helping him for reasons that you'll understand once you read the book. And they introduce a character. I'll say that if you've read the Marvel Godzilla series, you'll be very happy.
Okay.
And some other things as well. But yeah, this was such a fun. This is such a fun book. It, like the Godzilla versus Fantastic Four one, it has some pretty dark moments featuring these characters. There was one scene involving one of my favorite kaiju's. I got very upset about because it was such a big thing to do, but like it once y'all read it, you'll understand. But like it's a character you also like.
Did they have an open flame? I always thought it was a really funny joke.
But yeah, this is such a these one shots are super fun. The next one I believe is Godzilla versus Spider-Man. So that one I'm just excited for it. Like this whole run has been just really fun, and even if you're not like a Godzilla fan, if you're more of like a Hulk fan, you'll still really enjoy this. Yeah, just more fun, silly comics. Always a win, always good.
I like that they decided to. My favorite one of the Godzilla forms is the what I call Dog Face, which is this one. I don't know why I like that form so much. It's so derpy. There's only one other derpy version of him that is more derpy, and that's Godzilla Jr. That one is just the worst, but also adorable. Yeah. I mean, I'm intrigued. I want to know, how Gamma versus Atomic, which one's better? Were they good for each other? Mm-hmm. I don't know.
It's great. I really love this issue. So yeah.
Woohoo! You did one first.
So I was telling someone that one of my favorite things about the Absolute Flash, I genuinely do think that's got some of the best redesigns and reimaginings of these characters. As you can see on the front, on the A cover, because Cats and Cold looks very, very good. A little too good. But yeah, this is a title that I've been really enjoying, and yes, it looks fantastic as well. Mm-hmm. As each issue goes on, more and more, we're starting to see what's going on. I guess, because it's like, okay, I want to know what because this poor child is going through so much in such a short time. It's such a short amount of time, and I guess I'm just very curious to see how this chase is going to end, especially of how this issue ended. And yeah, I've been having a blast with it. Like it's generally so it's been a genuinely fun title, even though poor Wally is just going through it. But yeah, I've been really liking the Absolute Flash so far, and it's always fun just to read this issue. It just drool over like the artwork because it's so beautiful, and genuinely like check it out. If you want to get into the Flash, this would be an excellent. I feel like this would be like a really fun book to start with. And if you're a Flash fan, still check it out because it's like with the Absolute lines, just overall, it's really interesting and fun to see like different forms of characters that you're familiar with, but seeing them done in different ways. So, there's more with Barry. But for the most part, it is solely focused on Wally. I have a theory about Barry that I'll talk to Jen about like after the show.
Conspiracy,
yeah.
Love it.
But yeah, I've been really vibing with Absolute Flash. What were your thoughts, Jen? Because I know we talked about it.
Okay, so I'm gonna like cover up your ears if you didn't read number 1, because I'm gonna give you some insight for people like, or maybe if you can't find one or whatever. So the way I remember the first issue is that that Wally goes to the office workplace, which happens to be a giant lab of his dad, right? And then wanders into the lab at a bad moment, and so gets caught in whatever experiment's happening. So that's why what's going on with Wally's going on. And so you've ended up with somebody that's been affected by whatever this experiment was. He doesn't know what's going on. He can't control it. No one else knows what's going on either. But you've got Captain Cold and I can't remember the Boomer and who, I don't know who this person is in the front, what their name is. I always forget. So they're trying to figure out what's going on, where it's going on. And by also, I've already cast Captain Cold as Jeffrey D. Morgan because he looks like him. That's why they drew him. I hear his voice when he talks. Cold and Glider, thank you. Yeah, the one with the big ball head. I just want to see what that person looks like underneath because it looks like a girl body, young girl body, but who knows who's under there.
Oh, Golden Glider. That's Golden Glider.
Oh, that's Golden Glider. Okay.
That's Captain Forward.
Who's that?
It's gonna pop up.
Trickster.
Thank you so
much. Perfect. Thanks, everybody. I'm so thankful. As you guys all know, I've read a ton of DC, but not enough to say that I am really familiar with a ton of characters. So I'm like that friend that you're like, I want to get you into my favorite thing. So I'm going to tell you all the things about what I like so you can also be an expert. So thank you guys so much. You guys are always awesome about it. 30 years in, I still don't know it all.
Yeah, definitely check out Absolute Flash. It's been very consistent. I know it's only 2 issues, but they have been very fun 2 issues.
CW show made Flash favorite DC hero from our Lord. Makes sense to me.
Summer of Superman special, basically setting up for the Summer of Superman. And with the film coming out and new Superman titles coming out, this is a really good way to get you hyped, especially getting ready for this Friday, which is Superman Day. So be sure to check by. Sorry, stop by your local comic stores for Superman issues, special variants, and covers, and just celebrate the Big Blue Boy Scout. But yeah, this was I believe this is also Dan Slott's first DC story, DC issue, I think.
How cool is that?
Unless our producer wants to correct me or or let me know like what that issue is. But yeah, right. Oh yeah, cool. Thank you, Mr. Producer. So something I really liked about this issue is 3 different writers and 3 different chapters in the story, but it all flows together so well that it doesn't feel like, writer A, writer B, and writer C just goes off the rails. But like, it's basically, Clark, he goes to Smallville. The first story is the past. Second story is the present. Third story is the future.
Okay.
And then there's a epilogue, which is setting up some future Superman stories this summer, or rather, I guess I should say over the next couple of weeks. So keep an eye out for that in Action Comics and Superman. It's in time for a wedding. And of course, this is a comic world. Something goes horribly wrong.
No
and they
way.
had to fix it. But yeah, no, it's genuinely, it's a very fun issue. It's the epilogue definitely made me go, what is going on? What's happening to this character? I'm happy the character showed up in the first place, but what's happening? Definitely makes me want to check out Slott's Superman story. And yeah, I'm just happy that we're getting more Superman issues and comics over the next couple of weeks in the summer. And yes, Superman Unlimited. And I will say for this one, you may also want to check out Justice League Unlimited, which is a fantastic title already. But there is a little bit of a crossover there.
Yeah, it's nice to see him try something that not Spider-Man. Yeah, I like it when they let them flex their muscles on other universes. It's so cool. And then Mr. Lundberg says that he was pleasantly surprised on the absolute Green Lantern story. You and me both, man.
I like that a lot too.
I continually read these absolute stories, especially when they're like brand new ones, and think to myself, there's going to be a weak one in the bunch that I don't really like as much, but I find myself really having to read all of them because I like them. Like, if they can continue with this trajectory, I'm like, just turn the whole universe over to absolute. Why not?
They'll all get mad and want their old universe back. So it's a cycle.
Wait, I mean, go with me here. How would you guys feel like if someone said, okay, we're going to just, all the books are going to be, we're going to make them absolute for a little while and then let you have a break from the main universe, then come back strong with new original stories after people had a rest in their mind and thought of new great storylines. It's got to be hard to just think for continuity for those guys. How hard is it to be like, I got to write something else that happens in this poor person's life that's a crisis, but like doesn't destroy them mentally, kill all the people in their life? What reason do they have to go on? You be down. I'll call up DC. I'll be like, this is what we want.
Why do you have our number? Why did you call us?
You guys think I'm kidding? Oh yeah! Woo! All right, another book that I thought I'd be like, Lord, why am I even bothering with this nonsense? It's so good. Okay, in the first issue, you basically ended up with both of these universes smashed together. It's primarily Batman, Superman, Flash, and Cyborg. And Wonder Woman, which kind of like match up with the 5 main characters you get from Sonic. So they have like, kind of more even. Otherwise, if they were to have conflict with each other, it might be really one-sided. But the cool thing about this is you've got Darkseid is the main bad guy, and he's trying to gather together these, call them something emeralds, power emeralds? Nope.
Chaos Emeralds?
Maybe. Oh yeah, Chaos Emeralds sounds right. And so it feels a little bit like, if you're normally a Marvel person, it feels a little bit like Thanos trying to gather all of the Infinity Gems, but way more fun. We've already had in the first issue Flash and Sonic try to decide who's faster. Turns out it's Sonic. Spoiler. And at the beginning of this book, when they need to try to catch another character, when Flash says even Sonic can't catch him, that's kind of like an eye-opening thing, right? It's like, oh. And it's neat. They pair everybody off to go and try to pursue different characters that are important, or just trying to get to the gems before Darkseid or any of his cronies. It's cool to see. It feels like with this book, they're trying to show that even characters within the Sonic universe have like powers that are just as powerful. I mean, like they'd be like a really good like challenge for any of the big DC characters. Especially, man, when you see what Shadow stuff happens, is kind of dope. You're like, oh, snap. So it's interesting because I had a bunch of people come in the last couple of weeks looking for the #1 of this, and I was like, sorry, man, we sold out of this thing, and they haven't made a second print yet. So if you can find one at an LCS, check also in maybe their kids area, although well, I guess this is fine for kids. A little dramatic, but nothing super horrible. Way to go, DC. Way to just like put your characters together with other things that we love and make us love them even more. It's actually a brilliant way to introduce your characters to a whole new group of people, kind of like we got for the Naruto crossover with, who's Naruto with right now? TMNT. Yeah, so you get like people that may not be aware of one universe kind of getting interested all of a sudden in another one. Super smart, y'all.
I think Archie versus Predator is still my favorite crossover. It was really funny.
And what's so funny is that people, when you like mention those books, people they go, ha ha ha, that's so dumb, and you're like, no wait, but seriously, you should read it.
It's really good.
To the credit of the writers and the artists, I just kind of wonder if you like really did take a hat and be like, we're gonna take one bad guy, one team from one universe and another one, and be like, here, just see if you can make something out of this. Just see like how cool can we get. Probably pretty cool. Mm-hmm. Trying to think of other big crossovers. Like, oh, the one that made me a believer in like anything can go together was Transformers My Little Ponies. Transform My Little Pony was a really great series. And I was like, what? This should not make any sense whatsoever. But it did. What's y'all's favorite crossovers?
There's just been so many.
Oh, yeah. Oh, so many. Okay, so there are a great many books that are out this week. Try something new that you've never tried before. You can continue to use the comicshoplocator.com and the zip code for where you are to find a store near you. As far as I know, that's going to keep functioning. As far as we know, Alliance Entertainment is now going to own Diamond, who also owns that site. So they've given no indication that that's going to come down. So until like there's an official everything where the keys are handed over and they tell us what we're going to do, we're going to continue on with that one. There are some other sites that are popping up which have a good where all the comic book shops are. So we're excited about whichever way that looks. Oh, there's a nice bot. Sorry, bot, you may go. We fear bots. We watch science fiction. And we're kind of like we were so excited about our books we didn't pace ourselves very well. Oh, I did want to mention that this week ask your comic shop for a copy of the cool new issue of Zdarsky Comic News. You wouldn't like me when I'm hangry. It says Marvel's Green Goliath takes on Tokyo cuisine. Joe Kelly takes on the world and the internet as the new writer of Amazing Spider-Man. Visual disinterest. What to do when your life is too interesting to make an autobio comic. And biff, bam, pow. Comics aren't at all for kids anymore. Zdarsky, you're just starting stuff. Let's see. And there's a quote on the front that says, hello, sir. I'm sure you'll agree with me that 2/3 of all Spider-Man stories are complete garbage. Oh, no. What is he doing? What is he doing? He's all trying to start stuff. If you have never read any of Zdarsky's work, I'm just going to punch you in the face a little bit. Go find his run on Daredevil. It's probably the best thing that ever happened in Daredevil. He's been writing his way through so much stuff that I'm just like, if I just see his name now, I'm like, sure, I'll read it because I trust his writing. Spider-Man life story, yeah.
His Jughead is a lot of fun too.
Uh-huh.
Excellent writer.
And then for graphic novels this week, you've got second volume of the more compact size of Saga. They've only really had the first one out for a little while, and that has been a big hit because it's not as expensive. Deep Cut, which was just a single series. This is everything all put together. That's a Claremont story, and you know it was good. And you get finally this second volume of Black Panther. There's already the Ultimate Spider-Man second round out there, although we're selling it like crazy. Fantastic Four. This is volume, I can't remember, 4? 5. I love it because it's like I have to type this junk into my computer. It's like aliens, ghosts, and alternate Earths. Come on, y'all. My hands can only type so much in a day. And then there's a really cool Star Trek volume that's out. Trek it. Yeah. You got Predator versus Black Panther, which was a really great book. Get this one and then get the Aliens versus Avengers. Also amazing. I know those shouldn't make any sense, but they do. Turtle Power Pack. This one is of the size that makes me believe it's for the kids. And then the Horizon Experiment. It was a bunch of different books that made all computers crazy because they all started with Horizon Experiment and then the title of the book. But they were all great one-shot, mostly scary. So there you go. You can find all those things and more at your local comic shop. Do start paying attention to the free comic book day information that they've got. It's going to be really hard to decide which store to go to. Try making a progressive party out of it where you go from store to store and go and enjoy all of them and drop about $5, $10 at each one of them. And they'll be real happy. You'll keep all of the comic book stores rolling and you'll get some cool stuff because I'm telling you, each store kind of has its own specialty for what it carries the best. And you can talk to the employees there because they all read different things. They can give you good recommendations. Anything else for you?
That's pretty much it.
All right.
So again, don't forget this Friday it is Superman Day, so definitely check out your stores, hang out, talk Superman, and just admire all the very gorgeous variants that are coming out that day.
Absolutely. All right. Thanks, everybody. We appreciate you being here every week. Stick around because Wonderland Comics should be on next, where they're going to offer you new comic books that are coming out tomorrow. You can make your claims and then have them shipped to you. Or you can end up at your own LCS. You should do that. And I'm going to be over on CBSN. Thank you for joining us on the experience. We love having y'all here. I love seeing new faces. Thanks for sharing it out. See you guys next week. Bye.
Join the party. Head over to our link tree to find all the links for everywhere the experience is all the time.